Learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming into June 8, 2021, and the stock market is widening. And I got 3 stocks that I'm looking at tomorrow, with one that I think I'm going to be making a play on, and that is going to be Clover. So we're going to have to do a whole nother cover call thing. But a lot of things happened in the market today. It was very interesting. Even the NASDAQ was red, but ended up closing 0.5%. But the S&P and Dow actually ended up closing red, while the NASDAQ finished green. Now, the market is going to be waiting for this CPI report on Thursday, and that is key. But we had a lot of different pieces of information. Even Bitcoin got clapped a little bit. The meme stocks actually held up, and that was very, very important. I'm going to talk about that for a little bit and kind of what I'm expecting. But overall now, the market is definitely widening out, and you see that through the NASDAQ and the S&P. How this sets up into the inflation report and what goes on from there, I have some expectations, but this is going to get very, very interesting, and we should see a lot of activity. If we don't see it this week, then for sure next week after the market digests all of this new information. So we got a lot to talk about. I want to go over what happened in the market today, what we're looking at tomorrow, the plays that we made today. Actually made quite a few and a long-term purchase, and then the plays that we have for tomorrow. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it's pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life, and yes, if you understand that diluting your own investment is usually never a good idea, then yeah, we're the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Shout out to chat, baby. So right off the bat, today was a very weird day. You had a lot of just minor action. There was a lot of different things, but the Biotechs took over with that historic Biogen approval for an Alzheimer's drug. We saw Eli Lilly moving. The stock got halted. We knew Biogen was going to have this event, but this has been something they've been going over for like the last 5 years. If you ever go and look at the Biogen stock, it really tells the whole story. This is a true biotech. It does not play with the whole rotation, all of that. They were looking very promising in the early years, and then pretty much over the last 5 years, really, with what's going on with this drug, it has been a back and forth. It sent the stock back to pretty much 50% lower than where it was at the highs, and people knew about this, and we even came into the event. A lot of you guys were even talking about it before, but the Biogen options were expensive, and it was something that you didn't confirm, but the fact that they got the approval, this was a huge deal, and we saw it. We saw it early. It affected a bunch of different plays, but this was huge, and you saw it really just take over all of the biotech indexes, and a lot of other healthcare companies and whatnot, they also started going too. So you're definitely going to hear about this. This was one of the main keys today, but you also had a lot of different stuff, from Trump calling Bitcoin a scam to the Department of Justice saying that they were able to recover the Bitcoin from the Colonial Pipeline, which is pretty crazy, all the way now even to the global tax. A lot of people responded. It seems like most of it was expected, or any sort of global tax didn't really have too big of implications, because most of the G7 already has a minimum tax above 15%. But now you even saw Amazon drawn into the discussion, which you would have figured it would have been, but you got all of these little updates, more people talking about the tapering in the Fed, but ultimately now it didn't really move the market too much. You saw the widening effect between the NASDAQ and the S&P, but now this is what's leading us to the next key and what we need to watch for. The CPI is going to be on Thursday, and this is very important. So we talked about this on stream. I have a little bit of a theory with it, and essentially I'm thinking that inflation is going to come in high, but it is going to meet those expectations, so around like 4.2, 4.6%. But now I'm thinking that we've talked about it for the last pretty much 3 or 4 months, and even to the point it started to hurt growth stocks. I think a lot of investors are pretty much going to be conditioned to handling that, and we should see a positive reaction. Now, I totally could be wrong, or if the inflation number just comes in really, really high, I wouldn't be surprised to see the market take that negatively. But if it comes in line, I really think that the market might take that as a good thing. And then leading into the Fed next week and tapering all that, then we will see what happens. But this kind of goes in line with how I structured the long-term plays today. We'll go over that. However, keep your eye out for the movements leading into this. You saw a really weird widening today. There was a lot of winners and losers, and it wasn't what you really expected. Even though the Dow was red, there was still some really good Dow winners, even even though NASDAQ was green, there was still some pretty big tech stock losers at the same time. So I think you're going to get a lot of laggers and leaders coming into that, and pay attention to the winners. But pretty much up until Thursday, Friday, market may move in a range. And now people have asked, what's going to make us break out? I really think a CPI report that allows the market to kind of be like, okay, not too bad, and they take it, that will probably push us into new highs. If we don't, then we might have a little bit more drama on our hands here, because it'll probably take a lot more, or the market will want to wait for the Fed. So bringing that now into the last and final point here, what we're really going to be watching, and you saw the action today, it is going to be those meme stocks, and they held with a lot more stability today, and I was actually really, really surprised. But I pretty much think it is game time as long as a big drop doesn't kill the momentum. So I showed this on stream today. I brought this up a couple times. Here was AMC the first time, had the big run up, but you could see it drop from like $20 back down to $10. It had more than a 50% drop at some points, and you could see big run up, but a quick drop. You kind of had that. We had a big candle, but you're not really closing lower and lower. So if you didn't hear what I said on stream today with AMC and your power as a shareholder, you really need to understand how to vote, and that's what I think creates a unique situation. Most of the biggest voting shareholders have sold out at about $15, I believe, on the 21st. Before the run up, they have this important vote, so don't dilute your shares. But none of this is a recommendation. Options trading, extremely risky. Lose my financial advisor, lose all financial advice. Occasional firms, only thing every day. But make sure you know how to vote and spread the message. You don't want dilution. But either way, as long as we don't see like a 50% drop or one of these really big drawdowns to these lower levels, this run up has been a lot more calm and stable. So I think this is going to kind of create a certain environment until we get the CPI or the Fed, depending on what range the market is kind of willing to set. So all in all, I think Thursday in the CPI and kind of how we move till there with some pretty specific winners and losers, that is going to be the key. But we are going to have an exciting week, so I hope you're ready. But that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got 3 different plays that I'm looking at tomorrow, but we actually made a couple of plays here today, and I'm going to start it off with the long term. But the first trade that we made today, we ended up grabbing more Altria shares. I'm looking for this value rotation. I added 50 shares at 50.30, and again, we've been buying Altria since March. This is one of those value positions that we really like. I ended up averaging up on it, so we talked about it. I could have went with other of the value plays, but I really like the dividend yield. I like where they were, so I grabbed 50 shares on the big account, and then I also grabbed 5 shares on the small account as well too. So we gave ourselves a bonus. We still have more long-term deposits. That's why I want to wait a little bit, get the CPI, maybe even the Fed out the way. We'll see how we feel about it. So I will still be adding to it. If you missed it, well, here are the trades itself. Otherwise, first link for the free long-term alerts, baby. You could get a free text message anytime we add to any of these long-term portfolios that we've made specifically for YouTube. So that was the first play, but we also made a couple of other plays here. I did grab some AbbVie July 125 calls, grabbed 10 of them at 35 cents, and this was a sympathy to the whole Biogen thing. And then if you guys are watching on stream, we had a really nice pickup. We also saw the Eli Lilly, which was related to the Biogen. They are more directly related to Biogen than pretty much any other company. That's why they went up as much. So I was able to snake these July 280s for 22 cents. I sold one of them back for 85, made it free, and then holding the other. But now that's what brings us here to the first play. And we also even bought some shares as well too. We'll go over it. But Eli Lilly in Biogen, this has to do with the Biogen Alzheimer's drug. It really took over the whole market today. You even saw it with the biotechs in healthcare. So I think this is going to be a really good one at the very least to trade, but it is going to be volatile and you have to be careful. There is going to be room for a play, but also room to lose a lot of money. So don't forget, this is a biotech, and the best way to highlight this is simply looking at the option chart. It was halted all day, and like I said, these options were kind of expensive leading into the meeting. These were already going for like what, $600-700 for the furthest out the money on the chain, but even after, it was going for $4,000, came down a little bit to like $2,000, but you can see now they're going at $1,200, $1,150 on the ask. So this is what I mean. There's gonna be room for a play, but it's gonna be very risky. The range is so large and it could move at any given moment that's what's gonna cause it. And now Biogen, they're even expecting to have this drug available within like the next 10 days. So that is very quick. It is very fast, but this has a lot of implications. So at the very least, I think you'll be able to trade it, but it is going to be very, very risky tomorrow. Now, you saw what we were able to do today. We got to respond early. We made the Eli Lilly play. I got that one cheap. It started making moves, and I went AbbVie as another sympathy just because you saw kind of it affect the whole space. So I thought that would be good. And then there was another one. I believe they have an Alzheimer's drug, but they also have a bunch of other things. I pretty much saw this one as a lower quality sympathy, more or less, and even then I actually ended up closing red on it. It did go up, but we're using this same method that even got us into some of the other better plays. You go with shares, it has a lot of hype and volatility, there's something going on. It's not about getting it right now and immediately profiting off of it. I may be higher or lower 10-20%, but the whole point is, over time, if this is a true sympathy, it will come back to life. So I grabbed 200 shares of the LGVN. I get tricky with the whole ticker thing, but I think this is a lower quality play, but I still like it. Again, my 200 shares, if it goes down 50-60%, I will lose like $700 or so, not too bad. I'll hold it, but I do expect some continuation from all of these Biogen plays, Eli Lilly, all that, because it was definitely a huge effect today. So that is going to be the first set of plays I'm going to be looking at. The second set, we have these plays and they came back. Remember, I made them free on Friday, but overstock. I really like this one because the contracts are getting really froggy, and the reason why I say that, because I was watching the contracts that we already own. They were up a lot, but then overstock kind of slowed down. They lost their premium really fast, but then once the stock kept moving up, they came right back up. So it's kind of showing you that premium is volatile. It is risky, but those are the situations we like, because if it drops and it gets cheaper and we could kind of sense the double dip, then we could come in and get some cheap contracts. However, already got a lot of exposure, still holding my plays free, so keeping a tentative eye on that one. And then finally, the third and final play. This is that one stock I'm going to be looking at tomorrow because we already have it, and I pretty much use the same line of logic like I showed you with that LGVN, but now this could lead to one of those covered call type plays because Clover is very hype. It killed it today with the 40% move, so depending on how this plays out, I will look for some options tomorrow, but at the very least, still holding these 100 shares, and now it went back up. Now we're up 26% because of the after hours move, but a lot of people asked me this today. I even talked about it. I was like, well, I'm going to wait a little bit on the covered call. One, if you've watched the videos, I've given you guys a nice criteria. I'm not up 50 to 100%. I was only up like 20% or 10%, so it really wasn't that crazy. And then if you even bring it to the option chain, you had some options, but it wasn't as if it was crazy elevated. And now, thankfully for this move after hours, I think they're trading right now at 13. If it keeps going up, we should get some extra strikes here. But now, I didn't really want $100 to agree to sell it at 20, even though that would be 100% up. But like, see what I'm talking about? If our shares go up 50%, well, then you'll see how much we could get. We should be able to get more. So you could have sold the covered call, but you've seen how we've waited. And in that, again, I am already under the idea or the logic that I'm going to hold this share anyway, so I don't care. And we did what we did with many other plays. I'm going with 100, 200 shares, hype stock momentum. It is risky, all of that, but if it drops 50% on shares, it is not going to expire like an option, and I'm still going to hold it and ride it out. So I really think CLOV is going to be exciting. You got, again, another crazy set of options. This was a SPAC, but this thing has moved a lot. It hit the gutter. It's coming back. So as long as this holds momentum, this one should be exciting for tomorrow. So keep your eyes on them. Those are going to be the main plays. As far as everything else, I am going to be watching those lilies and everything else. AMC did very good. The only point I have to say is make sure you vote and do not go with dilution. Tell a friend. But AMC, we still want to watch it. That's going to be key. I like Altria. I like a lot of other value stocks. Some people even brought up Intel. I want to keep my eye on them. I'm not really sold just yet, but we want to see even any of the chip makers, but any value stocks in general. I don't think I have too many value names on here. Yeah, even after all of this, there really isn't much. Maybe even Abivide. There is a bunch of other names we need to keep our eye out for, but going to be watching all these names, those other plays that we made. Watch Intel, watch Square. We talked about this yesterday. The premiums were a little bit weird. It did go down and then it came back up. I think this one could be good, but I want a little bit better of a price. But if this starts to pick up momentum, I mean, it could be very good. Watch them. Watch Roblox. They finally dropped today, a big red on them. But I like this now because hopefully this kills some of the premium. I may look to double dip on some of the options, but we want to let this do its thing, see how it stacks up with the rest of the market. But it has had a good run up. I like what this is doing for the options, but doesn't mean we are going to jump too soon. So keep your eye out for them. Watch Tesla. They were down today. They kind of looked like they were outpacing on the downside arc, but then they came back up. I think it was an unconfirmed rumor that they are going to be able to sell cars in India. So I don't know how big of an EV market that is, but it got the stock up. But Tesla started the day down with more China news or bad China news in terms of their sales. Some people even said that was a rumor. So a lot of different things going on, from just the business in general to the Elon baby mama drama. So watch them. Watch DoorDash. I think they closed up a little bit, but they got really clapped. I believe they have their lockup coming. And then I think Airbnb's is right around the corner too. So this one didn't hold up how I was expecting, but I think both of those are going to be key. If you do see DoorDash kind of continue tomorrow, I think that will tell a lot, and that's going to be really key. So watch them. them because it'll be a big red, I think. But the premiums were kind of expensive today, so keep your eye on them. And then finally, baby, good old TLT and the dollar. But TLT came up. Some people asked. It did not go above my 141. Again, maybe at the bare max 143, but I think we're going to wait for the CPI. We're going to wait for the Fed next week, and by then we will really pretty much get some confirmation. Otherwise, the next question is, do bond yields go higher, or do we get the worst possible scenario where bond yields still kind of now level out for the next coming month? So it looks like you got 3 months dropping, 3 months stalling. This next 3 months is probably going to tell us a lot, so I hope you're ready. But on the other side of the coin, we got UUP. It's coming down a little bit. This is still at a key level. We are going to get that CPI data. You are also going to get trade data tomorrow out of, I believe, China and even their inflation data. So any big currency moves globally, we want to keep our eye out for this. But if the dollar goes any lower, that is still at a danger zone. It's more of a danger zone than TLT. So this is now leading the way. But again, what we are going to get this week, it should give us a lot of guidance. So I hope you're ready and focused. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to stay cool like a Yeti, baby. Don't worry. But the call loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.